Hi everyone, it's Harry from MechBoards here, and today we're going to be showing you how to build the Hyper7 R4. We'll be breaking down the contents of the kit and giving you a step-by-step guide. So let's get right into it. So here's everything you'll receive with your full Hyper7 kit. First off, you've got your carry case. Then on top, you should have your keycaps split into two different boxes. Next up, we've got our phone. This will hopefully all be in one strip for the final version. Our top plate, the switch plate, your USB extender, carry case handle, and screws and standoffs, your switches, stabilizers, PCB, and finally, the bottom plate. For our first step, we're going to be installing the stabilizers into the PCB. This is the default layout on the modern PCB. So what you're going to want to do is insert the plastic legs into the bigger holes on the bottom, and then screw in to the top half of the stabilizer through the back of the PCB. And repeat for the other side. There we go. Now to do that 30 more times. And finally, we've got the 7U spacebar. And now that the stabilizers are installed, we can move on to the switch plate. So first off, we're just going to remove the protective film, which is nowhere near as satisfying as you might expect it to be, unfortunately. So now you can grab your bag of small screws and standoffs and washers. These are for attaching the PCB to the plate. Just so you're aware, there are extra holes on this plate we have here, but the final version that you'll have won't have any of the unnecessary ones that we're not using in this video. So how I'd recommend doing this is just turning the plate over, popping a screw in through the top, putting the washer on top of the screw, and then screwing the stand off onto that screw. Now this can be a little bit fiddly and your fingers can get sore over time, but just take your time and they should hold up the PCB. And now that we've got all the standoffs screwed on, we can move on to the most satisfying part of the build, snapping the PCB. So just thumb on either side of each half and just push. And there we go. Should all be connected by the ribbon here that will be pre-soldered. So now we can take our PCB and lay it on top of those standoffs, with the stabilizers fitting into their respective holes, just like that. And we can continue to screw our PCB onto those standoffs, just like this. Once the PCB is attached to the plate, we can move on to the switches. So for this section, we're just going to be inserting the switches as you would in any hot swap PCB, and that is aligning the metal switch pins with the hot swap sockets, making sure that they are aligned to avoid bending any pins or sockets, and just pushing firmly. And you should be able to see on the other side the pins seated in the socket. Once we've inserted all of the switches, it's worth just flipping over and having a little quick visual check, make sure all the pins are inserted into their hot swap sockets. If not, just a little push should bridge the gap. So once that's all sorted, it's time to test all of the switches. So we'll plug in our Hyper7 here, turn her over, and get testing. You can head to usevia.app, authorize your device, click on the testing tab, enable matrix testing, and go through each switch. Now that testing's done, we can move on to the next step. So, we're going to grab our USB extender and plug this in. We're doing it now because it can be a little bit awkward once we've screwed this in. Now we grab our back plate, place it on top of the PCB in plate. We can get our screws. These ones are quite chunky, but the final version should come with ones that are slightly lower profile. And now we just want to align the holes on the bottom of the back plate with the holes in the switch plate. I like to do each corner lightly before tightening and moving on to the final screws in the middle. You can also check your alignment by just turning it back around and seeing that the keyboard is mostly centered in the case. And now we can put our final 4 screws in. If you do find that one of the screw threads is misaligned, it's easy enough just to loosen up the other screws, give it a nudge, and move it into place. And there you have it. Our PCB and plate are installed on the bottom plate. And our final step here before moving on to the top plate is just to insert our phone. Now we can start working on our top plate. First off, we're going to be attaching the handle. This can go in either orientation. Mine's going to be facing downwards, but it really doesn't matter. It's up to you. So we attach it to the case with a washer and a nut. I'm tightening these by hand. You can use a spanner if you'd like, but by hand should be tight enough. There we have it. You can test with a little wiggle, make sure you're happy. And now we can move on to attaching the USB extender to the top plate. I find it easiest to have the cable facing you and resting the front of the plate on the rest of the keyboard. You can then grab your screwdriver and screws, line up the port here with the holes, which can be a little bit tricky. There we go. I'm just attaching it like that. And now, to finish assembling the case, you can just tuck the cable into the back and pull the front lip over. So now we can attach the top plate to the bottom plate, starting with these screws on the back. It's worth just checking the alignment here with these 2 end screws. And as I can see, this is ever so slightly out, which can happen. And if that is the case, you just remove your top plate, give it a slight bend in the direction you need to, and pop your top plate back on, like that. Once you're happy with the alignment, simply screw through. And don't forget the final 2 screws here. They're just hiding under your handle if you put it in the downwards orientation. Now for the final 5 screws. Should just be as simple as inserting the screw, applying some pressure just here between the top and bottom plate to make sure that they don't get separated, and screwing in. Now that we've assembled the case, we have one final alignment check. As you can see here, we've got a small gap between the switches and the top plate here, and a bigger one here. This is going to cause issues when we're installing our keycaps. There's an easy fix. All we need to do is turn it over, loosen the screws attaching the switch plate to the bottom, and then turn the keyboard back over, pull the plate until you're happy with the alignment. Looks good there. Turn it back around, being careful to keep it still, and tighten up those screws again. Last but not least, it's time to install the keycaps. So there you have it. You should have a fully built Hyper7 R4. Just to reiterate, if you run into any issues, feel free to get in touch with us via the contact form link below or in our Discord for live support. Enjoy your keyboard!